I call this presentation abundance mind state, because first thing you need to do is change your mind state and the way you look at credit, the way you understand credit, right? And how you understand businesses and corporations and how all these things work together. And like I say, it's all about changing your mind state. So my first question is, who in here knows what their credit score is? By raise of hands. Does it? Okay, one, Ivan knows. You know, sis? What's your name? Mia, okay. Okay, Mia knows. Anybody else know their credit score in here? Does anybody here use their credit? You do? For what? What do you use your credit for? Just regular stuff? Subscription stuff like that? Banking? Okay. So credit, does anybody have a basic understanding of what credit is? That's your financial report card, basically. When they're looking at your credit, they judging on how before they ever meet you and they look at your credit score, that's where they judge you. That's where they decide they want to go forward and do business with you or not. It has nothing to do with who you are as a person, about your race, ethnicity, that kind of thing. It does have something to do with you as a person as far as how credible you are, right? If you pay your bills on time, that kind of thing, because that's what they judging you on, your pattern, right? So that's why it's very important to understand your credit. Your credit is going to be with you for the rest of your life. You was born with it, right? A lot of people's parents probably utilized it for certain things, right? It either helped you or hurt you, right? You could have came into the game 18 years old with good credit and a score because they utilized it, or you came into it because they was using your credit. So from birth to death, it's attached to your social security number, it's attached to your name, attached to your everywhere you ever lived, everything you ever done, it's attached to you. It's some report, whether you used it or you didn't use it, whether you utilized it or you didn't utilize it. All right, so let's get to it. I'm gonna get into the slideshow, and I'm just gonna tell you what I know about credit. And then I'm gonna tell you what I know about funding and how to utilize your credit to get ahead in life. All right, so we got into, if anybody understood their credit score, right? And to understand that you can utilize your credit to gain wealth in this country. This is the only country in the world where you could just come in the game with nothing but this credit score with this financial report card and show up and they're gonna give you some money for that. If you got the right grades, right? If you got the right data points, right? That's what credit is. That's how I understand credit, right? Because that's how I've been able to utilize it, right? To get ahead. A poverty mind state versus an abundance mind state, all right? Does anybody understand the contrast? Poverty mind state versus abundance mind state? It all starts with how you see yourself. What you was gonna say, Ivan? Let me hear it.
I mean, when I see that, I just see somebody is not using credit to really utilize it for what it's for.
Right.
And like an abundance mindset, I look at it as to invest.
Yes. He hit it on the nose right there. He couldn't have said it any better than me. That's exactly what it's about. It's about having understanding, first of all, because it's already in you, right? We were just talking about, I just told you about that. The credit is going to be with you forever, right? Having understanding that this is an abundance, not something I should fear, because it's the poverty mind state that keeps people in fear. They don't even want to utilize it. Maybe the most people who fear it, what they'll do is they'll build up their score just to keep that high score, but they'll never do anything with it, right? They'll never actually utilize it to get ahead in life. We're also going to talk about, then we're going to talk about credit. We're going to talk about business structure versus and fundability. Now that's a whole nother element of the game, right? That's when I'm really showing you how you actually utilize your credit and your business to generate income, to generate funds. So you can invest into a business or whatever it is you choose to do. And then I'm gonna give you some dynamics on how to access the funds using PG methods, which is using your personal credit score. That means being a personal guarantor for your business, like a co-signer for your business, and other EIN-based funding methods, right? EIN-based funding methods is when they don't even check your credit. They just check the EIN of your business, and then they'll fund you based on that. Usually it's based on revenue, right? But you also have a credit score for your business, so I'll talk a little bit about that. I'm gonna just give y'all a little bit of information about me. I gave y'all a little bit about my background, so I am a Sac State graduate. I got a bachelor's degree in communications. I also became a certified project manager most recently. Like I got those certificates around the same time because I was going to go into a career. Like I was looking to get into a full-time career, working a 9 to 5, looking for stability in my life. And that was like my path, right? I had a 10-year plan. Like I was going to go to work for 10 years, save enough money to invest into a business, and then I would do what I'm doing today. Basically, that was the vision I had, right? And all that changed once I got this information. I like to call this the knowledge you can't get in college, because it was actually a 20-year plan because I was a 10-year student. I went to school for about 10 years. I got a few degrees, not just a bachelor's, a few associate's degree in human services, because I was going to work in the human services field also. I have experience creating programs, as you see here, because I started doing that first in the human services field, right? So my plan, I know I had a lot of talents, but I just wanted a stable life. But once I got this information, I learned that I could skip the line. I didn't have to go to work for 10 years to save up enough money to get a business. I was able to accomplish this in a matter of 90 days, right? My goal was to probably save 100,000 in 10 years to invest into a business, right? Now, by then, I would have been comfortable. I'm pretty sure I'd have been comfortable in my situation, right? I probably had a home, couple cars, family, right? A consistent career that paid me. Now, I found out from running a business that's hard work. This is hard work that I'm doing. This is not easy because only one is holding me accountable is myself because I'm the boss. All right, now I don't know if I'd have been able to do this with all that comfort. I'm uncomfortable right now, so I can do it, right? Because I haven't stepped into that lane. I did the school thing, I did all that. I'm set up, resume looking solid. I know y'all learned about doing resumes and all that right now. That's what we doing here, right? Y'all learned about how to get a job, and I'm not against that at all. Because sometimes you have to know how to be a good worker to know how to run a business. So I'm not against that at all. But what I'm saying is we all have dreams to be greater than that, right? To work for somebody else. So from learning how to fund myself, I was able to fund myself 180,000 in 90 days, right? 60K from business funding, 60K on the personal side, 120K on the business side, right? And I'm gonna tell y'all like how I did that. I'm gonna break that down for you. And I'm also gonna break it down. It's not just about getting money, right? It's about these are funds, right? And I did this on the business side so I can invest into my business, right? Because the business is gonna grow, right? And when you invest into your business, that's the expectations. Every day's not gonna be the same. It start off slow, you invest more. So when you got other people's money to invest, you can do it. You go big. It's no fear because I'm not looking at my bank account like, damn, I worked for this money. I can't go just spend all this right now because when you're doing that, it goes much faster than it comes. All right. So that's what I'm doing. The name of my company is Rise Enterprise. It stands for Reinvesting Interest in a Social Equity. And that's what I want to do. I take the knowledge that I have, I take the knowledge that I gain, and I reinvest it back into my community with the hope, with the effect that people will utilize it, and I will get to hear about that so we can all bear fruit, and that I could also increase my capacity to gain more. Right? So that's what this stands for. And also, I always want everybody to know that what I just went through, if I can do it, you can do it also. How you doing, brother? What's your name? No, I appreciate the enthusiasm. For sure, Ron. I appreciate you. No, thank you, bro. No, for sure. And my name's Holly, man. Appreciate you. Okay, so like I told you, that was a little bit. I told y'all something about this when I just came in. I was sentenced to 20 years. I did 13 years off of that sentence. Only reason, and that's why I'm here today, because I could still be sitting in there if I didn't change my mind state. So that's why I said we're gonna talk about mind state, because that was the first thing I did that was able to, from that moment of making that choice, and I believe it was 2016, the day Donald Trump got elected. That's when I made the choice to change my life. And it had nothing to do with him. It was because Prop 57 was passed. And that was the opportunity for me to shorten that sentence. So I jumped on that opportunity the same way I jumped on every other opportunity that wasn't serving me in there, right? Because I was sitting in the hole when I did that. All right? This is the best choice I ever made in my life, because I'm standing right here with y'all today. I could still be sitting there right now. 2029 was my release date on that day when I made that choice, right? So I'm sitting here with y'all today because I made those hard choices. And it was a shift, but that shift is my abundance, right? Because it continued to bear fruit, and I'm able to continue to give. I just want y'all to know that what I'm saying is not theory, it's my practice. This is my experience, right? If you implement systems, because that was the first system, I think that was the first system I ever effectively implemented. Prop 57 gave me opportunity to go to school, to go to groups, right? And gain credits and get the time off my sentence. And I implemented that, and that was very effective for me. Like, I was getting pieces of paper every few months talking about your date change. Like, I couldn't get enough of it. So, and then from doing the work, it changed my mind state. It changed my heart. It changed a lot about me, right? I started to give to my community instead of just looking for opportunities to take. So this kind of work started in that place, and I brought it home with me. So most of us was never taught about wealth. We especially in certain communities, we were taught, especially when it comes to credit, we were taught that it was a bad thing, right? We heard horror stories about people in debt, right? We really, if you really think about it, none of those stories really added up to anything, right? It was just something that was said. It kept you fear, but it's not even a whole story, right? Yeah, exactly, right. And but this is something that people utilize, right? We just supposed to hustle, right? But you don't gotta just hustle. So like that was a hustle. That was somewhat of a hustle plan. I had to work for 10 years as a worker and stack up, right? But I was able to cut that 10-year plan down to 90 days. As far as just the access to the funds, you know. Now, if I wanted to go build my reputation up in that field of work, that could have been what I could have did, but that's not really where my heart is at. You know, so every day I do what I want to do because I'm running my own business and I'm paying myself at the end of the day, right? It's all about credit, capital, and business structure. That's how you really access. These are the keys to the economy out here, right? That's what it's about. That's what capitalism, credit, capital, and business structure, right? If you have all those elements, then you're set to go. It's two things you need to access funds: a fundable credit profile, which I'll show you exactly what that looks like, and a proper business structure. If you have those two things, you can access funds from any institution. We're full of banks in San Francisco. This is like one of the most richest cities in the world, probably the most richest city. I mean, it's very possible, right? If you have those two things, you can do business with any of these banks because the banks are here to give away money. That's what they do. They sell money, right? And if you have those two things, they're not worried about it's equitable. They're not worried about your race, your religion, or anything else. All they are concerned about are those two elements, right? That'll get you in the game. All right, we can go to the next slide. So what is credit? We already talked about that. Brother right here gave us a good answer. Credit is your financial report card, all right? It's your financial report card, but it's also leverage. It's also leverage for you to take advantage of these opportunities and to gain access to financial abundance, right? To gain access to any financial product that any bank has to offer, because that's what credit is directly connected to that, right? That's what they do business with people based on your credit. They don't do business with people based on anything else, just based on your credit. And it starts with your credit, then your business structure. Because if you bring the business with you, that's like your friend, right? Or your child, or whatever. It's something that you can grow, that can grow with you. And I'll tell you how to do that with PG funding. All right. Just know if you use credit correctly, it's the way to access your dream. Like, it's the thing that you think about. Like, everybody got that thing that they think about. Like, man, I want to do this. I want to do it. If I had just this amount of money, I would do this, or I would invest into this idea, right? Right? Because that's where wealth comes from. Wealth comes from ideas. It doesn't come from money. But we get fooled. We think it's all about the money. So the money's there for us. But the wealth comes from the ideas, right? So we were tricked to think that it came from some other ways, and we had to work hard for it, right? You will have to work hard, but you'll have to work hard to grow your idea. You don't have to work hard to get the money. I'm gonna show you that right now. All right, common credit myths. So I like to start with myths so we could get these out the way. All right, so who heard it? All debt is bad. Who's heard that myth and who believes that?
So we're taught growing up.
Right, you were taught that debt was bad. Debt was bad, okay.
I used to think that until I read Robert Kiyosaki.
Right.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay, there you go. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? There's nothing wrong with debt. If you don't have any debt, that means you don't got no money. You don't own anything. You don't have anything. If you don't got any debt, you probably don't have nothing. That's how you're viewed through your financial report card and through society, right? You're not an owner of anything because you're not in any kind of debt, because to buy anything that's substantial, you will need to go debt, because you don't want to use your own funds, because what if you do that and then something goes wrong? So you always want all rich people use other people's money, right? That's just standard, no matter what they tell you. All right? Protocol, right? Because we heard cash is king, right? We heard cash is king, and cash probably was king at one time. I don't even know if that was true. I know in the 80s there was a lot of cash floating, in the 90s a lot of cash, right? We all see that. Cash was appearing to be king. Credit was always there though, but the credit system was probably different at that time. Obviously something changed between then and now, right? Cash is the same thing. Cash and leverage is the same thing. I mean, cash and credit is leverage, what I meant to say. These are both just forms of leverage, right? But cash is fleeting. I don't keep no cash on me. I got a pocket full of credit cards,
So
right?
is it scarcity
You could print something, if you could print something up, right? Right, and it's no different than the numbers. I mean, everything has a value based on what we put on it, right? Nothing, cryptocurrency is only value based on what we put on it, right? Anything, any form of currency. It's only what you believe it to be, right? The only way you get cash for the most part, you gotta go to work for it, right? You gotta spend your hours to get some cash, unless you're just hustling, right? But usually, how do you get the money to even get the product to hustle? You gotta spend some time to get the funds, right? All right. That's why I like debt. We could just skip all that because I'm going to debt either way. If I spend my time, I'm in debt with my time. So we can skip the line. I'm gonna keep my time. I'll just go in debt monetarily because I expect to make more money. That's the whole purpose of me going to business and running a business or making any kind of investment. I don't need credit if I have money. Who believe that? Yeah. I mean, I would have believed that at one time. Like I got cash. I don't need no credit. Until you go try. I just heard a rapper say he had $2 million and he couldn't even buy a house. He had $2 million cash and he could not buy a house. That's crazy. He didn't have no credit. He said he was like a little boy. Has
800 is up. Credit score is worth more the value than $1 million.
It's worth more than that. But it's not about the score though. I'm gonna break that down for you. Let's not think it's about the score, right? Because people be flossing with that score, but it ain't all that. I'm gonna keep it 100, right? You can have 800 score and it ain't all that though, and I'm gonna break that down for you. It's not always about that number. I'm gonna just tell you that. All right? And that's another myth. We could debunk that. But yeah, no, when you got that profile with that number, the value is infinite. All right, so it's about how much, it's about your movement, right? All right, so who heard that checking your credit score hurts your credit? Anybody hear that? That used to be a thing. It used to be a thing. It would hurt you. It was an inquiry at one time, but they changed it. I think during COVID. Yeah, exactly. So now you can check, you get an update every 30 days. You can go on apps like My Free Score Now, Experian, any of those apps. And if you pay the subscription, you can see all 3 of your credit profiles. They lined up, boom, boom.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
You said they do different. I went to Costco to apply for a Costco credit card. When I did that, they also changed my credit score. They made it lower than what it is now.
Yeah.
Did they change the process of that now? Where you don't
So you say you went to Costco and would you apply for a credit card?
I applied for a Costco credit card.
Oh yeah, well you got an inquiry.
Yeah, so they did, and it changed my credit score. It took away from it. It didn't add to it. So you say you don't do that anymore?
Well, that's regular. That's standard. So when you get a new credit card, you get an inquiry, your score goes down. That's momentarily. As you pay that credit card off, your score will go up.
Anytime
Yeah,
somebody pulls
just
a
it.
big card,
I didn't get the credit card, but it still changed my score when they did it.
You still got the inquiry if you apply for any kind of credit. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, this for everybody. For the question, what he asked about his score dropped because he didn't get the credit card. It doesn't matter if you get it or not. You still applied, so you get the inquiry. So that's why I'm gonna just walk with me through this. Walk with me through this. If you have any questions at the end, to hit me any questions. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna cover all that. But if you do have any questions at the end, I'm gonna hit you. But I'm gonna show you how you make sure you don't do that. You don't want to go in guessing if you're gonna get a credit card or not. You want to be sure. All right. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what kind of data point what your credit profile should look like before you go apply for anything. All right. So you have 3. So I told you about your credit profiles. When you look at your credit profile, these are the 3 major credit bureaus. You have TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, right? Now these are the 3 credit bureaus that they keep all your information. These are your report cards, right? It's no other ones, right? When lenders want to see, they will usually pick just one of these. Most of them don't look at all of these. They just pick one, right? You'll get an inquiry on just one of these. We just talk about the inquiry. If they pull, if you sign, say you want them to do it, want them to look at your credit, they'll pull from one of these, and you'll get an inquiry on just one of these, right? So for example, he went to the Costco. So that more than likely, I don't know how Costco does it. It's on one of those. It's just on Experian. Now I would never apply for a Costco card. That's like a waste. Like it's nothing you can do with that. I mean, you can go to Costco and use it, but why don't you just get a regular credit card and you can do the same exact thing? But you can use a regular credit card everywhere, right? Not just at Costco. So that was a waste of an inquiry for those 2 reasons. Because first, he didn't know what his credit profile. He didn't know what was on here, right? And 2, it's no reason to get a Costco card if you want a credit card. Go for something that you can utilize at other places, all right?
Why do you think Costco
Sell the card?
push their Costco
Oh, it's a product.
It's a product.
Yeah, it's a product. Yeah, it's a product. If I got a product, if I can create this product and you'll spend some money on it, why not? It don't cost them nothing but a piece of plastic at the end of the day. And if you know, every time you use the cards, it's like any credit card. So if you don't pay the full balance, of course they gain some interest. But a lot of stores do that. A lot of stores do the same exact thing. Most stores got a card, like a credit card. Macy's got a credit card. Target got a credit card. You know, these stores just do that. It's just standard. Yeah, it's just so. But the same rules usually apply. Like if you apply for a Target credit card, it's usually going to be the same situation if you apply for a Discover credit card. So, and we'll talk about that. But these are the main bureaus, right? So when creditors are looking at your credit, this is what they're looking at. These 3 bureaus. And I'm going to show you what the data points look like when they look on there. All right. So, of course, we talked a little bit about this. You can use credit to scale business. You can use credit, of course, just to buy a car, get a home, right? You liquidate credit cards for cash, right? If you need cash to invest in something. You can use it for fun. These are things I use it for. To fund marketing, mentorships, tools for my business, to travel, things like that. You know, build relationships with banks, right? You use your credit. You can take funds, or you can take your credit card, or you can take funds that you gain and then circulate that through other banks. You can make 10,000 look like 100,000, right? When I don't say, well, you could if you take that much time, but you can make 10 look like 50. You can move it through 5 different banks, right? And build those kind of relationships. That's what banks like. They just like to see you move money. I just be moving money around. Like you depositing money in those bank accounts, that's business. That's a relationship. If you open up a bank account and have direct deposit, that's a relationship. Credit, I say freedom, options, and leverage, but credit can also be a noose around your neck if you don't utilize it the correct way, right? Going into the wrong kind of debt, you know? So it could be a great thing, or it could be a counterproductive thing. It's all about how you see it, and it's about that mind state we spoke about, your abundance mind state versus your poverty mind state. So we're gonna talk about how your credit score is calculated now. This is gonna be the fun part, because we're gonna really see how you get to it. All right, so everybody knows your credit score goes from a 300 to an 850, right? That's the range. All right, now that's made up of these certain data points, these certain elements. These are the elements that make up your credit profile. When they're looking at that TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, this is what they're looking at. So the most important thing will be on-time payments. That makes up 35% of your 100. That makes up 35% of your score, right? That's the most important thing. If you don't got 100% on-time payments, you ain't doing no business. They're not dealing with you. You know, you're gonna have to get that fixed somehow, right? The second most important thing is utilization. That makes up 30%, right? Now, who does not know what utilization is here? You don't know what it is? Okay, perfect. So utilization is the amount of funds that you're utilizing, that you have available to you. So if you have $100,000 in credit available, if you're using 30,000, then you're using 30% of your utilization. All right? Now I say 30-30 because the reason I use 30 is because I'm gonna talk about that too some more, but you always wanna say under 30% on your personal credit. So if you do have 100,000 available, you never wanna utilize more than 30,000 of it. Because once you start utilizing more than 30, now your score gonna start dropping. And there's reasons for that, and I'll tell you all about that. All right? And the next thing is a mixture of accounts. That makes up 15%. That's installment accounts and revolving accounts. So installment accounts are installment accounts is like a house loan, a car loan. You pay down what they gave you in installments, right? But you pay down the same thing every month. That's why it's installment. And a revolving account is like a credit card or a line of credit. You only pay back every month based on what you borrow, right? It's gonna be different. So it's revolving, but you get a bill every month. All right, and then new accounts. So new accounts, this is inquiries. We just talked about that a little bit. His score went down because he got that inquiry. New accounts make up 10%, right? So you don't want to have too many inquiries. You don't want to have too many new accounts. Too many new accounts makes your score go down. That's just the game. You just getting started. That's how they're looking at it, right? And usually new accounts will show up as inquiries, right? You don't want to have more than 4 inquiries on your credit credit profiles each, though. So now I don't mean 4 across the board. So you can actually have 9, right? Well, you want to have less than 9. Now you got the threshold. So each credit bureau, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, you can put an inquiry, up to 3 inquiries on each of those. And I'm going to show you how that benefits you later on in this presentation. So now, I told you so that was the dynamics of your credit profile. Now these are the actual data points. This is where you get the money, right? But this takes work. If you don't already got this, it takes work to get here, but I'm gonna break it down for you, all right? And it's once you get there, you there. It's that simple. Once you get there, you in the game. It takes time though. So a 680 plus credit score. This is how you get funds from a bank. When you walk in, if you'd have walked into Costco with these data points, they'd have gave you that card, no problem. It's just a Costco card. They'd probably threw you 2 of them. All right. So you want to have a 680 plus credit score, right? Not a 670, 650, 680, right? I'm telling you the data points that will allow you to get the most funds with the lowest APR rates. All right. Then you want to have 100% on-time payments. I told you how important that is. That makes up 35% of your overall credit score. Then you want to have 10 to 30% utilization. All right. Never over 30. Now, when you want to go get funded, you really want to have under 10% utilization. And this is why utilization is very important, because a credit card is a tool, right? Now, the people who give you the card, they're looking at how you utilize these funds. If they see that you're maxing out these cards every month, and you're paying it back every month, they say that's fine, but what if he has a bad month, right? What if it's just a bad month? What if something happens? Somebody gets sick or something, right? Now you're a problem, and that's high risk. Now, if you only utilize the card up to 30%, and you pay it down, they say, okay, this person is intelligent with these funds. That's not his. He knows how to borrow and give back, right? So that's how they look at it. So that's why I say you want to have the utilization under 10% when you're ready to go fund, all right? Then you want to have a mixture of credit cards and loans. That's both those installment accounts and those revolving accounts. You want to have a mixture. And you want to have at least 10 to 20 accounts, 10 to 20 different accounts. So that means 10 to 20 different credit cards, car loans, whatever kind of loan, and this kind of loan, right? Just 10 a mixture, because they want to see that you can handle different kinds of credit, okay? And then to go on top of that, I want you to have 2 to 5 years average in using your credit, right? So it shows the average age of how long you've been using funds, and it's like a calculation based on your oldest account and your newest account, and then they do some math and they give you an average, right? So you want to have 2 to 5 years. That's why I said every time you get a new account, it lowers your score, because when you get a new account, it also lowers your age, right? So one thing does affect the other. Okay, so it's good to be mindful of that. So I'm gonna give you some plays on what to do, on how to boost that score up. If you ain't already here, I'm gonna show you how to boost that score up, where it will drop your score, but it will boost that score up too once everything hit, right? And then also the inquiries. You want to, like I said, less than 4 inquiries. That's major. Inquiries is one of the most annoying things to me, because when I first got into this game, or when I was just applying for credit, I didn't know what I was doing, so I was getting hella inquiries. I had like 17 of them. You know, it was giving me, and everything else, I had everything else. I had everything else on this board, but I had too many inquiries. I was getting turned down for cards. I was trying to bust moves. It was slowing me down, slowing down my motion. So just be mindful. Don't waste those inquiries, you know, on things that's not going to help you get ahead. You got to have a plan. Credit is about being strategic, because it's not something you can just change overnight, right? You can't just, it takes time to build it up. So that's a fundable credit profile, right? And if you don't have, now, if you don't meet those data points, now I'm not talking about if you have hella late payments and derogatories. I'm not talking about that right now, right? If you have late payments and derogatories, you need credit repair, all right? So I'm not talking about credit repair today. I'm just talking about credit boosting, business structure, and how to get funds. But today we just talking about credit boosting. So say you just don't meet the data points. You don't got no late payments or anything like that, but you don't got those accounts on there. You don't got that age on there, right? It's things you can do to boost that score up. So that's why I said the number and the profile is different. You can have an 800 credit score, but you don't have that profile that I just showed you. That's not gonna get you money. That 800 don't mean nothing. You got to show up with that profile. So this is how you put yourself in position. So using these methods, if you're not already in position, you can get there in 30 to 90 days using these methods, all right? So first you can add credit builder accounts. So these are credit builder accounts. So you have accounts like Ava, Credit Strong. Have y'all heard about these kind of things? Kickoff, have y'all heard about these? Okay, so these are credit builder accounts. You buy into the account. So basically you pay a subscription, right? And what it does, it'll give you a credit card. And usually the more you pay, the higher the limit they'll give you. And it's a credit card that'll show up on your credit profile, but it's no inquiry. You don't get no inquiry for it. You just buying into it. And they'll stay on your credit profile as long as you pay into it every year, right? Usually they have a yearly subscription. I just did Ava. I use Ava. I don't got too many of these. I got a lot of regular personal credit cards, but I use Ava. It's like $98 a year. And they give you back most of it, like $95 at the end of the year, but then you just put it back in there, right? Keep it going. And then Ava got other things you can do, right? You could connect it to your bank account. And if you got recurring payments for whatever, your rent or any other kind of subscription, you identify what it is, and they'll put that in your credit as well. So that's how you get accounts. So you can use Ava to get multiple accounts, right? A lot, in a sense, the same with most. It's the same with most of these credit strong kickoff. I mean, all these credit builder accounts are pretty much the same across the board, right? You just buy into it, it boosts up your score, and you just want to keep it on there. Now, don't get too many of these. The most you should get of these, probably like 3 or 4. 3 or 4. You don't need to, because they know what this is, right? The banks know what that is. They know this is a credit builder account. It's not a real credit card. You can't go in there flossing like you got hella credit cards with 10 credit builder accounts on there. It's not going to work, right? So, but you could definitely use this strategically. All right. All right. So then another thing you can add to boost your credit profile is authorized user. Who said that something about the authorized user earlier, right? Yeah, you authorized user. And authorized user, that's just somebody you know. Usually, you just ask them to put you on a credit card. And most credit cards have like 10 spots, right? So yeah, that's a trade. These are all trade lines actually, right? But it's different levels. So we usually say authorized user because it's usually personal, right? Usually I know the person, they put me on there. So it's and saying that, it's important to understand that when you do get an authorized user, make sure it's somebody you trust. Make sure it's somebody not just you trust that's dependable and that they pay their credit bill every month and they keep the utilization under 30%. And if they're using it as an authorized user card, you want to make sure they're not even really using that card, right? Because you don't want to get caught up. Because just like you want to get all their good stuff, you want to get their limit and their age. You'll also get their bad stuff if they don't pay on time or if they use that card, too much. So that's something to be mindful of. But it's a great way to boost your score. Then another one I like is rent reporters. You can rent report. It's a lot of. I got you. It's a lot of sites you can use, like Rent Reporters, Rent Track, Rental Karma. I use Rent Reporters. I haven't used these other ones. I use Rent Reporters, right? But this is why this is valuable. You're not only able to put your rent on your credit profile now, because none of us are benefiting if you're paying rent except for a place to stay, of course, right? But you're not benefiting in any other way. You're paying somebody else's dream, somebody else's home, right? Somebody else's mortgage. Now you can actually put your rent on your credit profile and let it build up your score. Yes, yes. And here's the key. You can actually backdate it till you was 18. Right. So that's how you deal with the age thing. So if you add accounts on there besides trade lines and authorized users, when you're adding new accounts on there, if you add a Rent Reporters on there and you're able to backdate your rent, that'll keep your age up. It'll actually boost your age up, right? Because every time you add a new account, it's bringing you down. But when you add some more age on there, now it brings you up. So that's why I love Rent Reporters, right? It helps even you out. All right. Then you could also utilize pledge loans. Pledge loans, Navy Fed, they have pledge loans. So you get a pledge loan. All you do at Navy Fed, you open up an account, you deposit some money in your bank account, and then you ask for a pledge loan for the same amount that's already in your account. So they're going to give it to you because you already have the funds in there, right? And then this is the key, right? This is the key. You can actually pay that loan down 98% the next day.
Is that a prepaid debit card, basically?
No, this is just a pledge loan. I mean, yeah, it's just, it'll be in your bank account. It's your money. All they're doing is your money, they're going to lock your money up. Yeah, you borrow your money. They're going to lock your money up and they're going to give you their money. That's all they're going to do. But the magic with this pledge loan is you pay down 98% and they'll release that money. As much as you pay down, they release it to you. A lot of pledge loans won't do that. They'll keep all your money till you pay off everything. But this pledge loan, you pay down 98%, you have access to your funds again. And then guess what? You can do another one. And you can do another one, right? And guess what? All of these will show up on your credit profile as accounts. But yeah, that's secure credit cards are pretty similar to pledge loans. You just put your money in there and they'll give you a credit card. And then a lot of times with secure credit cards in 6 months, they'll give you an unsecured credit card if you ask them, okay? And then this is the key right here. This is what most people don't do. Who has a credit? Does anybody here have a credit card? Who in here has a credit card? You have a credit card? You have a credit card? You got a credit card. When the last time y'all got a credit limit increase? When was the last time? Oh, you got one about 8 months ago? Okay. Never? Okay. You can ask for an increase every 90 days, sometimes less, right? Most credit cards, it's no inquiry. You just asking them. They're gonna say yes or no. And if they say no, they're gonna tell you why. Something which they're gonna let you know what you need to work on, right? Now, this is the key right here. Most people don't utilize their credit cards the right way. And I just told y'all what an authorized user was, right? All right. Now, that's a form of, these are all trade lines. But I'm gonna talk about trade lines. But anybody who has a credit card can make money off that credit card every month, right? You can you can sell trade lines. Like I said, you have up to 10 slots on your credit card. Now, the average trade line, depending on what your limit is and how old your credit card is, goes from anywhere from $200 to, I see $1,200 trade lines. And they pay that, and that's like, I mean, to be graceful is 60 days. We're gonna keep a trade line on there for 60 days so you can do what you need to do. Because it just stays on there for that period of time that you're paying for it, right? So after you add all these accounts on there that I just told you about, your credit profile gonna be looking nice, right? But it still might be something missing.